Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversation. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
This world is changing more and more every day, and we've decided to change right along with it. My name is Dr. Lauren Michaels Harris, and I'm the president of Trajectory TV Network. At Trajectory, our vision is to provide a creative platform for top content creators and storytellers from around the globe. We're also dedicated to providing this world with content that is healing, educational, empowering, exciting, and above all else, entertaining and transparent. So right now, I invite all of you who believe yourselves to be global game changers to use the link found here and simply take a chance. Schedule a virtual chat where you'll have the opportunity to share your vision for your very own global television show with me, the network president. So use that link, and together, let's begin changing and healing this world, one story at a time. And remember, whether you have years of experience in front of the camera or zero experience, it doesn't matter. What matters the most is your desire to share great content through television and a willingness to share it with passion and with purpose. You might ask, how do I know if I've fallen in love with my purpose and my purpose has fallen in love with me? It's easy when you've lost your voice because you just can't stop talking about it. I'll see you soon.
Don't see what's yours for the taking tonight.
Good morning to you. Hey, happy Monday to you. I know I'm looking a little distracted because I'm in another space. I was back there trying to figure out. Good morning. Welcome to today's installment of Look, I'm double vision. Anyway, happy belated Father's Day. This past weekend, yesterday, in fact, was Father's Day. And you know what? It was so wonderful for me because I was able to go down to Michigan. I had to speak at a retirement celebration on Saturday. So I was able to take some homemade cookies to my father-in-law. Shout out to my father-in-law, Lynn. And I also spoke with my foster father yesterday. It's so interesting. Growing up, I never had a dad. You know, my mom was single. And so it's so nice to be able to celebrate that. I used to avoid the stores on Father's Day and Mother's Days because I didn't have anybody to buy cards for. But that's all changed. See how good God, the universe is. So welcome to today's installment of Bathrobe Moments. That's the bell of purpose. I ring it on purpose and with purpose because just like that bell, the ring has a truth to it. And I don't want us to miss any. Also, hey, there you are. Welcome to the show, my sidekick, Lucy McGillicuddy Ricardo. I have not given her mojo yet, which is really my mojo, the coffee. So what'd you do for Father's Day? Hats off to all the dads out there. A lot of celebrations yesterday. And today, I did not know this. I should be ashamed of myself. I did not know this until this morning. I was listening to NPR radio. And I knew it was Juneteenth today, the 19th, but I did not know that it is a national holiday. Did you? I didn't. So I guess that means we don't get mail today. The trash people ran because they already picked mine up. But I did not know that Juneteenth was a national holiday. Now, I also am proud to say I now know what Juneteenth actually is. I had seen it being celebrated for years and had no idea what it was truly about. So before we get our guest in here, he's not even here yet. He's having some tech issues, TONY RODRIGUES, but I'm sure he'll get it figured out. Really didn't know what Juneteenth was. So I thought I'd show a little minute and a half clip so we can learn together. I know, but I didn't always know. And if you don't, you should. It's really interesting. This I could not believe. Take a look.
In the chapters of U.S. history, put a bookmark.
Now, wait a minute.
January 1st, 1863, the date President Abraham Lincoln, with one proclamation, orders and declares that all persons held as slaves shall be free. What the history books may fail to mention is what happens to these words once they arrived on the shores of Galveston, Texas, more than 2 years after Lincoln wrote them. In the 1860s, word didn't travel as fast as it does now. And in 1865, months after General Robert E. Lee's surrender, word of the end of the Civil War had yet to hit the southern state and its 250,000 slaves. And then came General Gordon Granger's arrival in Galveston on June 19, 1865. And General Order Number 3 came with it that said all slaves are free. Juneteenth was born. While Juneteenth celebrations continued to varying degrees in the U.S. for decades, it would take until 1980 for Texas to become the first state to declare it as a holiday. Today, 47 states recognize it and the District of Columbia. A chapter of our day.
I guess I'm back. Okay. So, yeah. Can you imagine being a slave? I was listening on my phone. Hold on. You guys, listen. I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to keep it real. I am not techie, and I had to unhook all my stuff because when I went to Michigan to speak, I had to do a television special earlier in the day. And so I had to take all my stuff up there, and I got to get my tech guy back over to hook it up properly.
So I couldn't hear that through my speakers. I had to listen to my phone. Anyway, let's keep it real. So anyway, can you imagine being a slave and finding out 2 years later that you could have been gone? I've been free for 2 years. And then they say, I've read that a lot of slaves even then didn't want to leave. You wouldn't have had to tell me twice. I'll tell you that now. So anyway, happy Juneteenth out there, June 19th. So today, Tony Rodriguez is here, and he has a lot to talk about. What does he say? Oh, he goes, finally on. Yep, I see you back there, Tony. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm going to get him in here so we can just get started. Tony, I've known for a number of years. He's come to a lot of the events that I've had, and I met him through my good friend Jason Cisneros and reconnected just a couple weekends ago when we were all in Charleston. I always want to say Charleston, South Carolina for Jason and Emily's wedding. So anyway, I invited him on the show. He's got some new things going on. And what we do here on Bathrobe Moments is we welcome people virtually. We get on our feet virtually. We roll out the red carpet virtually. And how do we do that? We do it by putting some hearts on the screen. So here you go. Get ready. They're free. They're painless. Throw some hearts on the screen as we welcome our good friend, Tony Rodriguez. Oh, here he comes.
All right. What is up, my brother? My apologies for talking about tech issues. I was having major tech issues this morning. I couldn't get on anywhere. It was asking me for my, because I actually use StreamYard, so I have it on my laptop, but I wasn't able to access it. I don't understand what was going on this morning.
Mm-hmm.
So
I can tell you why. Because you were in hair and makeup until 10 minutes ago, thinking everything was going to. Where are you? That's so sunny. Where are you?
I'm in my garden. This is your bathrobe moment. This is me in the morning. I do my clubhouse, rooms in here. So this is here. Check it out. This is my garden.
It's a real garden.
That's my chicken coop back there. You'll hear them. That's my beehives in the corner. That's my front yard. So yeah. So
what are you doing with all those vegetables? How many people are you feeding in that house?
Yeah, listen, better to have more than not enough.
What do you do with it all?
I wound up giving away a lot of vegetables to my neighbors, my friends.
What are you growing back there?
Oh, a little bit of everything, man. I probably have 13 varieties of tomatoes, 12 or something like that. I got zucchini, white, yellow, gold. I've got cucumbers and peppers and jalapeno peppers and strawberries and 4 different types of lettuce and butternut squash and flowers and blackberries.
What about weed? See how you see.
That's the next thing. It is legal after all, but
I was gonna say depends on where you live and where in the world is this garden. Where do you actually live?
I'm in New Jersey, in a little town called Bedminster, now made famous by the Trump National Golf Course and him flying around here all the time. So I'm in New Jersey. People don't understand that New Jersey is it's called the Garden State because until, Amazon and all these manufacturing distribution companies started buying up the farmland and putting up buildings, it was the Garden State. It still is. We produce the Jersey tomatoes, some of the best tomatoes that you can have or come from New Jersey, big corn state. There's lots of horses and cows, but people only think of New Jersey as a suburb of Manhattan or Philadelphia or something, and that's not the case.
Are you born and raised there?
Actually, I was born in Portugal. My parents immigrated to Newark, New Jersey when I was just about 6 years old. So
I was not New Jersey.
Because, there's a big Portuguese community there. I wish they had picked Miami or somewhere cooler for sure. But
LA.
Yeah, this is where I landed. Right. Well, listen, the only place worse than California politically right now is probably New York and New Jersey. So I'm stuck in with that stuff anyway. But yeah, at least San Diego would probably be a good place, right? But so I actually grew up in the inner city in Newark, New Jersey. On a little 19 by 75 lot or something. And now I think my garden is twice the size of that.
Twice the size of that. So, Tony, when you what was the first job you ever had?
First job I ever had. By the way, how's my audio? I just want to make sure that I'm coming in clear.
Am I coming in clear, Mike TV? From Willy Wonka, which actually, believe it or not, I'm gonna see him this summer and Veruca Salt at something that we're all going to. Mike TV from that movie, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I know.
I love it.
Can't
I love
wait.
it.
Am I coming in clear? Yes, you are.
Am I coming in clear? Thank you.
Right.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So
my first job, that's actually
yeah.
That's a good question. First, I've been kind of working my whole life. I didn't have an easy childhood, but you know what, and I don't know if we're going to get into that or not. But I would say that I developed a good work ethic because my parents were tough. My father in particular. So that's the one good thing I got from him was work ethic. My first job, so I was always working around the house. If he was home, then we better be doing something. Otherwise we're crying, and we're not crying because we don't want to go outside. We're crying because we got our ass kicked and we're outside doing whatever we've got to do anyway. My first job though, I was 11 years old. Child labor laws be damned.
Yeah, I was 10.
Actually worked. Yeah. So I had several jobs starting off young, but I worked at a newspaper, but not with a paper route. I was actually I was delivering papers, but bulk newspapers. And then I worked at another newspaper. And then when I was 13, I started working at a gas station and mechanics assistant. So I know my way. I'm kind of mechanically inclined because of it. And I've been working ever since, man. I did graduate high school. I did get my master's degree, but of course that was from the School of Hard Knocks. I like to say that I do have a PhD, but it's my public high school diploma.
No, that's right. So let me ask you something. It's just an opinion-based question, but I know what I think. And I used to be jealous as a kid of kids who didn't have to really do anything, make up your bed or whatever, and they got an allowance. And that was allow what? I allow you to live here. That's what my mom would say, right? I allow you to eat my food, right? But she did let me get a job, and my first job was at 10, and I was a Shackley distributor. And actually, by the time I was 11, I had made $5,000 doing it because I was selling spices like vanilla extract and maple extract to the ladies in the neighborhoods, and I would bake things and let them taste it, and then it go, what's that? What did you put in here? Funny you should ask, ma'am. And then I'd pull out my little case and I would sell them spices and things. So, but I want to ask you, there's an immigrant mindset. A lot of people that I interview whose parents or grandparents were first generation immigrants to this country are very successful because from the very beginning, they weren't handed anything, including allowances. They were allowed to work or forced to work, as the case may be. So let me ask you, do you think that the mindset of your parents being first generation immigrants had a lot to do with the developing of these work ethics you speak of?
Listen, I only agree with that 100%. Not only did I work, and whatever little money I made, I gave to my father. Right?
For the family.
I didn't have, extra money. I mean, I still had to ask my parents for money whenever I needed it, even though I was working, had my own money. Mm-hmm. And yeah, that is something that first generation, at least at the time, and I would hope to think that that's still the case now, but our immigration system's a little different. Being an immigrant 30, 40 years ago, 45 years ago, 50 or 100 years ago is vastly different than it is now. Now, the immigration system is obviously broken. We do need immigrants. I understand the plight of the immigrant all too well. But there's ways of doing it and there's ways of not doing it. And right now, what we're doing is the way of not doing it, not knowing who's here, who's there. Everybody comes in with an entitlement mindset. Heck, I think the state of California is now giving a couple $100 a week to every illegal immigrant that doesn't have a job, which is basically just inviting more of the same.
Well, and the immigrants we're talking about, I'm sorry, but the immigrants we're talking about came legally.
Yeah. So that's what I'm talking about. So
then, yes.
My father was called here because a lot of people, and I don't know if you want to talk about this, but the immigration system actually works when it works and when they work the immigration system. The way it works is if you need a group of people to come to do a particular job is, so you call on, you call a group of people, you sponsor someone that has a particular skill set. And when you sponsor someone to bring them into the country, which is how my father came in, you, first of all, they have to go through the rigorous process of making sure that they're healthy, they're not coming in with diseases or anything else, that they're not criminals, they've done a background check, and that they're not, that they don't come here to become a ward of the state. Because if in the first 5 years you become a ward of the state, the person that sponsored you has to pay the government back for that. So the person that's being sponsored, feels the responsibility. If you sponsored me and I came here and I screwed up and I didn't pay my medical bills, or I went to jail, guess who has to pay for my stay at said facility? Dr. Lauren Michael Harris. And that's really, so there was an accountability.
Look, if they wait on me to pay for it, they'd be sending your ass back.
But that's the point. And now there's no accountability on anyone. So everybody was here to work hard and make a living, where, and I'm not saying that that's not what happens now, but now not only is it easy, but we're not only, and celebrating them and putting them up in hotels, and we're doing all of these things, making life too easy, that never mind the first generation isn't going to have the work ethic. Heck, the people that come over here may not have it either, because
that's true.
Him, you give a man a fish, he's never going to want to fish. You got to teach him how to fish. Right. So I have a bit of a big pushback with the immigration system, because again, I know it rather intimately, having grown up in an immigrant community, and still knowing so many people, having friends and family members that have been through that circle. But to answer your primary question, yeah, it absolutely guided me as to how I was. It also gave me an unhealthy relationship with money at first, because how money doesn't grow on trees. You got to work hard. And if you're not working hard, you're not doing this. You're not, you know what? Yes. And there's another way. Yes, you work hard, but when you work hard and smart, it's better. When it's not just about the money. Money may not grow on trees, but it's also, you don't have to, uproot the whole damn tree and kill yourself to do it, to find that one nugget that's underneath the tree.
Right.
So the work ethic is there because of it. Would I want my kids growing up the same way I did? Probably not. As a matter of fact, I did not raise my kids that way. I tried to instill the work ethic in them, certainly, but wasn't in the heavy-handed way, because I grew up, I was a battered kid,
Yeah.
We were abused on a regular basis, like just about every day.
Don't go there yet.
Yeah.
See, Tony has a show, or is about
again, I don't know. Listen, like I said, we're going to go wherever you want to go, brother.
Right. I'm like, okay, all right, okay. He thinks he's on his show. So, but that's okay. Don't worry. I'm going to reel him in, y'all. I'm going to reel him in. I want to ask you, Lori, thank you for putting that in. Lori says her first job was taking care of a paraplegic police officer. How interesting. You need to come on and talk about that, Lori. And hello to everybody out there, all of you that are watching. I can see some of you. Misty Lee says she knows you from somewhere. She said she knows you from my Platt year. What is that?
I'm through the Tony Robbins world. I'm a trainer with Tony Robbins for the last 6 years.
Don't go there yet either. Okay, okay. And then Christopher tried to speak some Spanish. Hola. Hey, Christopher Casson. How are you? He was at the wedding as well. But here's what I want to know. What did you dream of being when you were a kid, doing all these little jobs at the newspaper place and all that? What did you think you were going to be when you grew up?
I didn't really have a lot of, I didn't know. Because I grew up, being told I'd never amount to shit. And I was no good and I was dumb. And so I didn't really have these aspirations, so I just wanted to be free, to be honest with you. I didn't have, kids grow up saying, I want to be this, I want to be that. I don't remember having that. I just wanted to survive. I wanted to, be happy. I wanted to be free. I didn't really have that experience, because, my father was a laborer working for someone else, a hard life. And I didn't want to be that, but I didn't, I wasn't really encouraged. Yeah. Well, again, I don't want to get into that story, but I wasn't really encouraged. So what did I want to be? I didn't really have.
Not verbally. maybe not verbally, but really, I say this all the time. All those things that, at the time, of course, seemingly did not serve us. I say, how bad could they have been? They led me to this moment right now with you. You know what I'm saying? They
100%.
really did.
Oh,
they didn't know they were
100%.
doing it, but we couldn't have got here without them. We couldn't have got
we're
him.
A compilation.
Exactly. Exactly. So let's talk about, you graduate from high school, because you said you had a public school, high school degree. You graduated from high school. What did you do right after that? What was your plan?
Well, I was going to go to college. I wanted to go to college, but I didn't go to college. And I didn't go to college because, again, growing up being told that I was dumb and stupid and I never amount to anything, I didn't want to prove anybody right. Right? Because I wasn't the great. I was a B student, I would say. I didn't have. I didn't know what Again, I didn't want to prove anybody right. And at the time, the Gulf War had just broken out, and I was going to go into the military, but I'm like, yeah, no degree, no this. I'm going to be on the front line, taking the first bullet or something. So I decided to get into real estate at 18. And keep in mind, and I'll just, as an aside, growing up was tough. So I was suicidal when I was when I was a teenager. I never did it because I was going to tell my mom I'm dead, right? Because she doesn't deserve it. And then God has a sense of humor. So on my 18th birthday, I had a massive car accident that killed me on my 18th birthday. I had the black tunnel, white light looking down on my body, and the first thing I said was, "Who's going to tell my mom I'm dead?"
So you really did see. Wait. So you really did see all that stuff we hear about?
Yeah. It was very peaceful, actually. Very peaceful moment. Probably one of the most peaceful moments I've ever experienced, because it wasn't scary, it wasn't hot, it wasn't cold. It just was. And I was just a matter of fact, I'm like, damn, who's going to tell my mom I'm dead? And then, started hearing my name, the black tunnel, white light, and images flashing past you. And there was really nothing to see.
Okay, wait. You know what? I have talked to a lot of people about these near-death experiences. One of my best friends, Jessie, a girl, she cardiac arrested, and they had her on life support while they were convincing her parents to harvest her organs. Because I was with her at the license bureau when she said, I'm leaving it blank if I want to be a donor. I don't want them forcing me to make a decision right now. And that choice saved her life, because while they were trying to convince her family to donate her organs, she came back to life. And she came back to, she's walking around right now. But anyway, she won't talk about what happened. She'll allude to it, but she doesn't go deep with it. But wait a minute, when you said images flying by, what kind of images? Like when
First of all, let me say this. For years now, I'm a donor now, but for years I didn't want to be a donor for the same exact reason of that. I don't want anybody like, oh, he's almost gone. Just pull the plug. Let's start pulling stuff out.
Right. Get his liver. Right.
Of course, being a donor is epically important. When somebody dies, they save dozens, in some cases, hundreds of lives. So I am for organ donation. But again, that is the fear that I had at the time as well. When the images that were coming by were just images of my life, like pictures, flashes of where you've been and what you've done. And
your life passes before your eyes. That's literal.
Yeah, literally, life flashing before your eyes, right? Different flashes of images, and there just wasn't much to see, because at 18 years old, having lived an oppressed life, so to speak, there wasn't much to see. I would have died without having lived. I would have died without having experienced life. So
you came out of it.
There wasn't. Yeah. So my name's being called, and I just exploded into this light that I was going towards as I'm watching these things. The black tunnel, white light is kind of a real thing. At least that was my experience. And people can say it's you're coming out. My apologies. I was getting a phone call. A fair explanation was that black tunnel, white light, is you running through that tunnel, and I just exploded into a world of pain where I came to, and I was just all messed up, and fortunately I survived. But I decided shortly thereafter that, because I would have died without having lived. So I decided to live before I die. So if it went fast. And so I was still in high school. Let me just back it up. And I needed to tell you this. And the reason being is because fast forward, I graduated high school. I didn't want to go to the prom. I had like 67 stitches in my face. I had plastic surgery. I had all of that stuff. But I was physically in a lot of pain. I still endured some of that pain today. And it was September. My friends are going off to college. I was working a couple of jobs at the time. I was working probably, I don't even know, probably working at Pathmark as a stock boy or something, and probably some other part-time job or whatever was going on. And, I met somebody and they talked to me about real estate, and I decided to get into real estate. Well, my father said, "No, you're coming to work with me." I said, "No, I'm not." Because again, he was a laborer working for someone else. Nothing wrong with that, but it's not like I'm going to work for him. I'm going to work with him doing heavy labor. And I had just broken my body 6 months prior. So I just couldn't physically do it. Even if I wanted to, I really physically couldn't do it.
Couldn't pull it off.
I decided to go into real estate, and, just like any, supportive parent would do, he bet me that I would fail. He bet me $1,000 that I would fail.
See, that's the kind of shit I love when people did that stuff to me, because I'm competitive. And anything you tell me I can't or won't do, get ready and watch. I bet you.
Well, yeah, and listen, that's the lesson that I took from it, and that's how I processed it and I internalized it 100%. So I use that as fuel, right? And I had to change that fuel later on. But anyway, long story short, I did close on a little barbecue restaurant, South Street in Newark. My first commission was like $737. 2 days prior, I come home to the 90 days. I don't tell them anything about it. I just dump all the money on top of the table, made it look like it was $10,000, even though it was only $790.
All ones.
Yeah, like ones wrapped in 20s and 10s, in a couple of 50s, just to be a smart ass. And he gave me $1,000. My first commission check was $1,737. I had to do that. So I was in real estate at the time. I got in at 18 years old. So I've been doing it for now. This is my 34th year that I'm still involved, not in the same way that I have been in the past, but I'm still involved in the real estate industry. And, I was working at Pathmark, and I worked for United Airlines. I always had, 2 jobs, working 80, 90 hours a week, because I moved out when I was 20 years old. I guess it was just, it was an interesting ride. But again, to your point, I did use it as fuel, and I used it as fuel for a very long time. But again, life took a lot of turns, and I opened up my first real estate office when I was about 25 years old. I was probably one of the youngest real estate office owners in New Jersey. And, then everything just kind of snowballed from there. I went to a Tony Robbins event when I was 24, 25 years old, like the one-day event. Didn't go back till I was 28. And that's when it really changed my life. Because for those 10 years, I hated the accident. I blamed the accident. I blamed, my life was, I was seeing success, but I was unhappy. Anyway, but I'm not going to get into that.
Well, just yet. There you go.
Yet.
Listen, we're going to go to a brief break. And when we come back, I want to get into what this hashtag on the screen means. And I'm pretty sure it ties into the work you do to ease suffering today in the world and more. And we'll keep this story moving. You guys, there's a lot of show ahead of us. Don't you dare go away. Now would be a great time to bless someone by sharing this broadcast out. We'll be right back. Don't move.
You can navigate the legal and emotional journey of divorce and exit a marriage the way you entered it, with mindfulness, love, and respect. Solace Divorce Mediation is a full-service law practice helping couples focus on the health and well-being of children and their forever co-parenting family. Our streamlined divorce journey offers flat fees with an estimated completion time frame of 2 to 4 months. If you or a friend need us, visit solacedivorce.com.
Welcome back to today's installment of Bathrobe Moments. I'm your host, Lauren Michaels Harris, and I'm trying to figure something out here. Tony got knocked off the broadcast, but he's back. But there's something okay, I know how to do it. I want to show you. I hope he doesn't get mad at me. Wait a minute. Told y'all I'm not techie. I can't wait till I'm with NBC, CBS, Fox, ABC, take your pick, so that somebody can do all this shit for me. I'm not kidding. That's my motivation. Oh, here it is. Here's a little something.
Have you ever been betrayed, lied to, deceived by someone that you trust, by a coworker, someone you loved and respected? Maybe by a family member or friend or someone that's like family. Well, I have. And it cost me millions. It cost me my business. Nearly cost me my marriage and my life. You know, growing up, I grew up as an immigrant kid in the inner city. It was tough growing up. I was a victim of domestic violence. I was bullied. I was just a really shy kid growing up. And I was suicidal in my teens. You know, God has a sense of humor. So on my 18th birthday, I died in a car accident, had a whole near-death experience. Fortunately, I didn't die. But I did realize that I would have died without having lived. So I got a new perspective on life. That life was happening for me and not to me. That what I chose to focus on was expanding. So I should focus on what it was that I wanted, not what it was that I didn't. You know, and through all of these years, I've learned a lot, right? Through business, through relationships, just through living. My name is Tony Rodrigues, and I'm the founder of the Get Up and Grow movement. I started that because until you grow through what you go through, you keep going through it. All those difficult moments that you keep reliving, you keep re-victimizing yourself and living those same mistakes time and time again. Bottom line, the past was a bruise, not a tattoo. You're not supposed to dwell on that. You're supposed to grow through it. Those things that happen in life are supposed to make you better, not bitter. So I'm here as your life and business strategist, as your mentor, as your advisor, to help you grow through what you go through. So you can get to the other side, so you can get to the joy, the happiness, the fulfillment, and live the life that you want to live and that you deserve. If my message resonates with you, click the link below. Let's have a call. Let's see if I can help you grow what you go through so you can live your best life.
Okay. So, tell us what that's all about. Get up and grow.
You know, that's funny. You're the first one that I shared the video with. No, you
didn't say it was a secret, so
it wasn't. I actually put it on my YouTube channel, even though the YouTube channel is just a baby in its infancy. Even though I've had it for a little bit, I haven't really been putting anything on it. So it is out there, but this is the first time it's actually out there.
Well, it's out there now. Ain't no going back.
It is indeed. Well, Get Up and Grow was something that I started a couple of years ago, and I'm going to tell you how it started, what the inception of it really was. Okay. You know, and I started saying before how, you know, when I went to Tony Robbins when I was 28, you know, and I had looked back and I used to say I'd give up everything that I've accomplished till now to, you know, to the success that I had, to not have had that car accident specifically, because I blamed that car accident for so many of the things that were going on in my life. You know, the pain that I was still enduring and going through. And, you know, that's when, and I went to see Tony Robbins, and again, that where focus goes, energy flows, right? And what you focus on is what you experience. So that was a big one for me. But the next one was that life is happening for you, not to you. And I realized that I didn't have the childhood or the father that I wanted or deserved, but I got exactly who I needed to get to be the father and the husband, the man that I am today. Same thing with the accident. It didn't come to knock me off course. It came to knock me onto the course that I should have been on the whole time. So, you know, life is happening for us. I'm going to say 98, 99% of the time, because there's always a lesson to be learned through life. So a couple of years ago, I was going through a really difficult business partnership separation. They called it a business divorce. Someone who I'd been friends with since I was 8 years old, major betrayal, major I just and it literally, like I said in the video, it cost me all my businesses, cost me millions, almost knocked everything out of me. And and the fact that I can say that is a blessing, because I did get to the point that I had a lot of assets in real estate, and I did have millions of dollars of assets. But it cost me everything, the businesses and everything else, and it nearly cost me my marriage because they were trying to break. Anyway, it was a very difficult situation, and I got back to the point of, I'm like, what the hell am I doing here? This sucks. And while I was going through that, about maybe 3 or 4 days when that started, I didn't sleep for 3 days, and I started walking every day intentionally. I mean, I've been walking for a long time, but I started doing these intentional walks in the morning. And a couple of days after that, I started doing these 60-second, 90-second videos before Facebook Live was a thing. And I'd post these videos because it's, if I was having the thought about something, it wasn't a woe was me. It was just like I'd have a talk about loyalty, discipline, integrity. And I'd talk about 90 seconds or 2 minutes, whatever it is, about that topic. And I would post that. So, and I say all that because one day, about 2 years into my battle, into my fight that lasted 5.5 years, and cost me, 7 figures in legal fees, we'll say that. I get a call from a friend of mine, and I remember it was mid-January. The real estate office I was with at the time that I had merged my office into was too cheap, so they had their Christmas party in January. So I came home, and I say that because I'd already had a couple of glasses of wine. Was not drunk. I don't want people to think that.
Of course you
but I
were.
already had. No, but not. But let me. And I'll get to that in a second. I wasn't drunk, but I was fluid, and I say that because I get a call from this friend of mine, 10:30 at night. I only talk to him in the morning. Yeah, relaxed. I only talk to him in the morning, and he gives me a call, and he starts to go into this problem that he's got. And at one point I stopped him. I said, listen, stop. Are you telling me your story, or are you just repeating mine? Because I was going through something similar. He said, Tony, that's why I'm calling you. How the hell? Because he was at the end of his rope. He was, wanting to give it all up and everything else. And he said, I know, but how the hell do you keep it so positive? But I decided to do a morning routine when I was going through my darkest time, because we all need to have a morning routine of incantations, affirmations, gratitude. I start with the gratitude spiral, and I would do this every day to keep myself up. Otherwise, I'm going to crash and burn. And people don't understand how important and pivotal all of those things are. Yeah, the daily grounding. And I started this practice. He's like, how do you keep so positive? I see your videos and this and that. I said, this is what I do. I start with the gratitude spiral. What am I grateful for? Because what you focus on expands. So I went through all of that. And I said, and then I do incantations and affirmations. Like, yeah, but how? And I said, you know what? September 24th, 12:45 in the afternoon, my freaking world came crashing down. My business partner came in, and my best friend at the time came in and just blew everything up because things weren't going well in his life, divorce, whatever else. And he just decided he was going to blow things up. And I'm not going to get into the whole details of it. And he says, yeah, and how did you get over that? And here's where things got a little weird. I started saying, that happened September 24th. And it's like, bam, like I got hit by a train. And God said, grow, and I said, no. Boom, more pain. And God said, grow, and I said, no. Now, the important thing to remember is I'm more spiritual than I'm religious, and I never talk about God in a coaching situation unless I know that that's something important to them, and they've given me almost the authority to do it. So, but that's not part of my lexicon when I'm talking to people. So it was foreign to me. These were not my words. I tapped into something in the ether, and I'm just delivering this message to them. So the next day there was more pain, and God said, grow, and I said, no. And God said, grow, and I said, no. And I went on, must have said that 10, 20 times. My son came into the garage because I was pacing in the garage and said, good night, Dad. I said, all right, good night, son. Go brush your teeth. I'll be up in a few minutes to tuck you in, whatever. And then he went upstairs. I came back on the call, and he's like, hey, just keep reading. I'm like, reading what? Whatever you're reading, keep reading. I said, dude, not only am I not reading anything, but what were we talking about? Completely lost the thread. And then he started talking about, you got said grow. And I said, oh, yeah, that's right. And then, and I picked up the thread again. And, it wasn't until 2 years after this, 9 months after this started for me, that I was in Brazil, and I realized, man, I can't fix this because I'm the fixer. I help people with their business, with their relationships. And my ex-business partner knew that. So he leveraged that against me, making me leading me to believe that I can fix it, all the while he was continuing to stack the dominoes against me. When I was in Brazil, I came to the realization, I said,
So
man,
that
that
was
guy's
almost like 1 billion quadrillion Dr.
right. It gets,
Evil.
yeah. So here's, and I'll bring this story to a close. So, you know, every time, you know, he'd file a frivolous complaint against me on something he did, boom, more pain. And God said grow, and I said no, and I was just refusing to grow. And then Brazil, when I had that epiphany, I'm like, and the pain went away because I grew. Until about a month later, another frivolous lawsuit, boom, God said grow, and I said no. All of this happened, and you know, towards the end of the conversation, he said thank you, and I said, listen, we're gonna have a talk tomorrow. I need to unpack what just happened here because I'm not even aware of it. And you know, and he said thank you, whatever. And it wasn't until like 3 months later, I'm resharing the story with somebody, and I'm like, holy shit. I share the story. I gave him the story, but that story was for me.
Exactly.
That message was for me. Not it worked for him, but that message was for me. And I say that why? Because pain is a signal, right? God said it's like putting your hand on the stove, on the hot stove, and you pull it back,
Yeah.
right? So God said grow, meaning pull your hand back, fight back, acknowledge what's happening. Otherwise, there's going to be, until you open your eyes, until you pull your hand back, there's going to be more pain. So until you grow through what you go through, you keep going through it. Until you pull your hand back and you start to fight, or you start to make a decision that life will not be this way. Until you make that decision, you're going to keep reliving the same thing. Man, why does this keep happening to me? Because you haven't learned the goddamn lesson yet. You haven't grown through what you're going through.
Well, one of the
So
things. Sorry, but I want to comment.
No, it's fine. Go ahead.
I want to comment. I just want to say, and this is for y'all out there, you know, there's a reason, you know, when we have pain, we are in the midst of growing. Why do you think they're called growing pains and not growing tickles? Think about that, right? And the thing about it is, you in order to grow, you can't get over it. You can't dig under it, and you can't find a way around it. So when people are telling you that shit, and they're supposedly helping you, like Tony's friend, that's wall talk. That's wall talk. And God doesn't provide walls of opportunity. They're doors and windows, because when you seek, you'll be able to see your way into it and then your way through it, because you got to go. Once you go, like you said, you go in with a G and an O, you come out the other side, you have an R and a W, push them together, go, grow. So once you go, then you grow, because now you know something. You're an authority. Now there's only one step left, to get out there and show it to other people. Exactly, because now you didn't buy it on eBay. You lived it. You're an authority. So there you go.
Awesome. That's awesome.
There you go.
So that day that I shared that story, I started hashtagging Get Up and Grow. And then I made it officially an LLC about a year ago, and I was already coaching people, but I took it to another level. But because it is about helping people grow through what they go through, because until they grow through, they keep going through it. So I'm here to help ease suffering in the world. And how do I do that? I do that by helping people turn their decades into days, because it took me, God, so many years, decades.
So wait a minute. To get up. Wait a minute. We get the in grow, but get up. See, a lot of people think they can just sit on their ass and grow. Yeah, you're going to grow. You're going to grow, you know, a bed sore on your buttocks, as what's his name? Tom Hanks said in Forrest Gump, my buttocks, you know. So talk about the getting up part. Because see, Tony, you know, we all get the in grow in a lot of people, but when people are depressed or they feel betrayed, they feel they don't have what it takes to get up. So,
but they do.
Give us some tips on getting up.
Oh, yeah. Listen, this is my jam and my jelly and my peanut butter and all of it. Okay. So, you know, we all fall. Everybody falls, but most people just they get up the next morning. They get up and go, and they get up and go, and every day they just get up and go. But they have to get up and grow. They have to grow through what they go through, so that they keep going through it. And here's the story that I share about this. We need to stop tripping on shit that's behind us, right? Literally, we trip on things behind us. We trip on our old mistakes. We made a mistake back there, and mistakes, are you know, the first time you make a mistake, it's a mistake. Maybe the second time it's a mistake, but the third time it's a choice. We're choosing to go that. If you're walking down the road, you know there's a pothole, and you roll your ankle in that pothole today, and then maybe next week you're going through, you forget, and you roll your damn ankle in that pothole again. Shame on you if you roll it the third time, or if you blow your tire out the third time. Find a different path.
Right.
Avoid it when you get to it, because that shit's in your past. But people choose to try to live in your past. The reality is you can't live in your past. No amount of regret can change the past.
Don't want to, but
right.
Somehow we say we don't want to, but our actions speak something different.
You're absolutely right.
Going back there.
Yeah, but there's no amount of regret can change the past. No amount of anxiety can change the future. All they both do is steal today's peace. So, you know, what I tell people about mistakes and the things that happened in their past, you know, we've all heard the expression of there's a reason that the rearview mirror is smaller than the windshield, because you can look at it as a point of reference, but you're not going that way.
Exactly.
Right? You're not going that way. So stop, because you can't relive the past unless you choose to in your mind. We re-victimize ourselves for something that happened in the past. If you're still suffering something you went through 20 years ago, that person that did that to you is no longer the culprit. You're the culprit. It's about you letting go and you forgiving. And we'll talk about forgiveness in a minute. But I will say this in terms of tripping on things that are behind you. I think that we should all look at ourselves as like a forensic pathologist, so to speak. When we make a mistake, you know, you ever have a car accident, and then when you're in it, every time just slows down. You like see the peanut butter, the peanut butter cup, or or you know, you're seeing the M&Ms float past you as like shit's like crashing and like things are moving, and you're seeing things in slow motion, right? So if you can think about that when you make a mistake, and we can make a conscious effort to go back. So let's say that you fall, you're walking and you fall into a deep hole. Now I want you to go back now and like play it as if it's in slow motion. What caused you to fall? Did you slip? Did you trip? Were you fooled? Were you pushed? What happened? What caused you to fall? And as you're falling, who's celebrating the fact that you fell? And they see you going down, and who's they're celebrating? And first of all, remember who was at your table before you fell. It's a very important part. Who's at your table? As you're falling, who's trying to give you a hand or give you a hand up? And who's just letting you fall and laughing at the fact that you fell? And when you fall, who was down there to help cushion your fall and to help you walk in the dark? And by the way, when we fall, more often than not, it's because there's something down there we're supposed to find. And now as you're walking through and trying to get up.
On that point, I just want to say this, because, and you guys know I say this all the time, and I can't let the moment go. I just can't. I personally don't believe in mistakes. I believe in missteps, because God doesn't make mistakes. He's merely keeping this shit interesting. And then the mistake is not, you only should, if you're seeking the truth, even if it does, like your accident, it should only take once, because the truth is never going to change, and it's never going to change on you. So it wasn't a mistake. It was an opportunity. Because look at that accident. Look what it did. Look where it led you. This is the thing. 100%. But if you don't get what it's for when you're fresh in it or just coming out of it, you're going to go back and you're going to miss your blessing. You're going to miss your blessing.
Well, and I'll give you one for your repertoire, and they're not mistakes, they're must takes.
Yep.
Right.
Oh, I ain't putting that in mind. I don't steal people's stuff. I got enough coming through.
I know.
But I will pass it on.
I don't know where I heard that one, but I heard it from someone. That wasn't an original.
And it's true.
Yeah. So listen. So as you're walking through the darkness, who's there helping you get up and work out your shit? Now, when you start to climb back up, did somebody reach down to help you? Did they throw down a rope or a ladder? And as you're climbing the ladder, who's heckling you? Say, what are you doing? You can't get back up. You shouldn't have been up here in the first place. Stay down. You suck. Who's trying to keep you down? And then when you finally come back up, who's coming back to your table? Who wants a seat at the table again when they left you when you were down, when you were falling? So I think it's important to go back and recognize those things and recognize, why did you fall? What caused you to fall? Was it a lack of knowledge, information? Was it lack of support? What was it? And then what did you learn while you were down there that you should have learned? So if we look at our mistakes or our must takes in that way, we can learn. And that's how we learn, because if we just get up and keep running, and don't analyze why it is that
right
we
back
fall.
to the same hole.
Yeah, it's like almost like oh my God, I'm drawing a blank on his name, Doctor. Anyway, it'll come to me in a second. So he says they're in a village in Africa, and they keep pulling people out of the river. And finally, somebody said, we need to go upriver and see what the hell's throwing people in. What's causing people to fall into the river? So you can't just keep doing the same thing expecting a different result. You got to dig a little deeper. Where in your past or in your story or the story you're telling yourself that you're not letting yourself grow through what you go through. So, because until you grow through it, you keep going through it. And a lot of that, the 2 keys to happiness, Tony Robbins says this all the time, that, most people have a dirt road to happiness and a highway to hell, right? A highway to misery and anger and disappointment and everything else. The reality of it is the 2 keys to happiness are gratitude and forgiveness, because the more you're grateful for what you have in your life, the more things you look for, the more things you find.
That's right.
So
That's
gratitude is one of the most important things that any of us can practice, because if you just think, a friend of mine says, look at your hands. When's the last time you were grateful for your hands? What have they done for you? Everything.
Yeah. Every day.
When's the last time you were grateful for your breath, for your heart that beats 107,000 times a day without you thinking about it? For your lungs that allow you to breathe, for your eyes that allow you to see, your ears that allow you to hear. The technology that we're on right now. The birds, you can hear the chickens in the back. That's right. I'm grateful for fresh eggs, baby.
Let me ask you something, Tony. Because we actually are out of time, unfortunately. It flies by, doesn't it? I told you.
It does.
I did. Where is the best place for people to head to continue this dialogue with you, should they choose to?
Well, you can go onto the website, which is getupandgrow.com. And of course,
just like we see it on the screen.
But if you put in the hashtag, just like you see on the screen, it's kind of cool. All you find is me. So if you put that in the search bar, but just go to Get Up and Grow as you see it here, minus the pound sign, the hashtag getupandgrow.com.
Getupandgrow.com.
My website. Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna drop that
2.0.
Okay, we're gonna drop that link for your convenience, everyone, into the comment section immediately at the end of today's broadcast. Listen, I want to thank you, Tony, for coming in today and bringing a breath of fresh air and helping us start our week in a stellar way. You guys get over and check out all things Tony Rodriguez and pay close attention to the spelling of that last name. It's not the traditional version you'd expect. Well, that's just like everything you're going to find once you get over to Get Up and Grow. Not what you would expect, but it could be exactly what you need. So I want to thank you so much for today. And I want to thank all of you. Why? Because together we've created yet another divine memory. That's right. Don't spend your life based on things you created years ago. Spend the rest of your life on things you created moments ago. I'll see you tomorrow morning out front. It's Meet the Experts Day. Our monthly experts will be here pouring in. We got a lot to talk about. Tell a friend, spread the word, and listen, get out there today and live your very best life. Tony, thank you so much. As always, it's a pleasure. We'll have you back here again, God willing. And I'll see you guys 8 a.m. tomorrow morning out on the front porch as together we create another illuminated conversation right here on Bathrobe Moments. And as always, when I say goodbye to you, I love you. And there ain't a damn thing you can do about it. Have the best day ever. Thanks, Tony. See you. Great job.
Everybody.
Show me your soul. Baby, I'll show you mine. Show me your soul. Honey, it's way past time. How expensive do I have to be? Need I spell it out before you get it, baby? Show me your soul. And honey, I'll show you mine. I'll show you mine. of mine.